I have the privilege of feeling that I have efficacy in the world, that I can change the world for the better. My birth name is Mark Demers, and in my community we call that my boy name, so my boy name is Mark Demers. I use my Radical Faerie name in almost all contexts now, and that's Colombine. And I chose Colombine because it was my favorite flower. I use he, him, or they, them. Queer, cis, male, boomer. Yeah, and I'm a happy person, an activist, someone who believes in making the world a better place. So the Radical Faeries are kind of a tribe or a sub-community within the queer community. We originally were very far leftists, people who are activists. And the fairy part was people who had worked enough with their queerness to be able to call themselves a fairy. I do gender fuck drag, where I don't shave my beard. I'm not with makeup, but a wig and a dress. That sweetness in the garden. I always crave that. My first memory in life is gardening. I remember being in a wheelbarrow in the garden, and my mother was throwing weeds in on top of me, and I was laughing so hard that I peed myself. One of my sayings about gardeners is, you know a good gardener by how much death and destruction they can take without giving up. So I was lucky, but my parents had very unhappy childhoods, and they decided that they would raise us better than they were raised. I didn't ever come out to my parents because I never had to. And at that time that was an unusual childhood. Partly because of all the privilege I have in my life, I feel empowered to change the world to suit my vision of what the world should be. So from an early age, I have been active in many ways in making the world a better place. But my first queer activism was in 1978. Anita Bryant came to Edmonton, come and talk about the horrors of gay people in the world. So there was a big counter demonstration, part of which involved one of the people chaining themselves to the stage when she gave her speech. And it was early in the days of counter demos, so they didn't have bolt cutters, and they were forced to endure this person heckling Anita Bryant through her whole speech. So that was a win. One of the things I've learned about activism is sometimes is better measured later. My last career has been in care. So I've been a nurse. Before that, I was a home support worker for a while for HIV patients during the pandemic times. The home hospice program, going into people's homes to help them die. And the last job I had in the field was I worked as a home care nurse in the downtown east side. Latterly, my husband got Alzheimer's disease, and he just passed away a couple months ago, but he was very much involved in activism locally as well. We did a number of ACT UP and Queer Nation activities, and we crashed the legislature and disrupted the legislative session, and were thrown out, and we dogged the premier at press events, made life very difficult for him. The central issue we were demonstrating about was that the government at that time was refusing to pay for HIV medications because, of course, we chose to get HIV. Eventually that changed. Then things settled down. My activism became more the activism that we do most of the time, which is just being present and being visible and open. And we became the spokesmodels for this Alzheimer's Society. Talked in terms of, outing Alzheimer's is somewhat like outing queerness. And about 5 years ago, we picked up another husband, so there were 3 of us, and a lot of visibility activism with the 3 of us. We would walk hand in hand down the street. We all happened to look like Santa Claus, so there would be the 3 of us wearing red coats and red Santa hats and holding hands and walking down the streets. Kids would, their little brains would go pop. Oh, Santa's queer. I never thought of that. My generation in particular, like gays of my time, I'd like to see them pull up their socks and do some more work. I think that we are failing badly in many ways, and we need to make more room for younger people to own the future. I'm really, really proud and delighted when I see queer youth because, what's happening and the ways that they are moving the ball forward is exactly what I fought for. To not have to live in the ghetto, kind of bittersweet victory in a sense. We don't have to do that because we won. Gender fluidity that we're witnessing is what we fought for, and I'm so happy that it's come to pass. I mean, I get to watch the things that I've been fighting for actually become real. That is amazing. I love being able to reinvent the world. I've challenged the world to be something else and something better, and have some successes with that. And I would never deny anyone else that experience. I don't want to be in the way. I want to be able to see it. I hope you have fun. I hope you have success. I hope you do things that I didn't even think of doing.